Cookie's junk!
I like a cookie.
Look at that. Jesus hangs out with hookers.
Yeah, and he says there's hookers in heaven, so he sounds a lot like you.
Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool 3, the fantastic and incredible film that I've been waiting absolutely months for, months of my life, years of my life of waiting for this movie, and finally, Kevin Feige, Ryan Reynolds, they did it, and Hugh Jackman came back in the role, and they gave the people what they wanted. I couldn't be more happy. But was the movie exactly good? Well, it's not as straightforward as yes or no. It's a little bit of an in-between. I have to talk about it a little bit here. There's some critiques that I have for the film, some critiques that I knew were going to be coming, and some that are valid, and some that are just really upsetting, and some that are, kind of make a little more sense. But just before going into it, I had to just break down the basics for the movie. Number one, Sean Levy came in to direct this film, did a pretty good job overall. Writing the film, we have Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, Zeb Wells, and also Sean Levy. A big room of writers there, and they all did a pretty good job adapting the screenplay. And also cinematography comes to us from George Richmond, and composing comes to us from Rob Simonson. Rob Simonson, don't know you that well, brother, but you did cook here a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, the score, it was banging, it was slapping, I can't deny it. And how did I feel about the movie going into it? Like I said before, I was very eager for the movie because, once again, since I was 12, 15 years old, I've been wanting this film for years. I've been wanting this team up to happen. It's just been on my wish list, bucket list for my entire life, and it finally came. So I was very eager, but also very, very cautious. I mean, the MCU has been in a dry spot here. We all know it. It's no secret. The MCU on a very steady decline. So this is the movie, the only film of the entire year from the MCU, to really breathe life into this entire universe, and that's what it's done for me, a little bit. Yes and no, this film worked. It worked a little bit, and also didn't really work at all. And you're probably asking yourself, why is this Logan guy being so annoying? Why is he being so complicated? Why can't it just be yes or no? Was the film good, or was it bad? Just answer the question. Well, I want to answer the question for you, but it's just not that easy. This film is really good. I had a lot of fun with it, but it does a lot of things really, really wrong. So in today's episode, I'll just quickly go through what I really enjoyed, what really, really worked, and then I'll just go into what makes this film not that great and what makes it really, really struggle. And depending on who you ask, this film is really good, and depending on who you ask, this film is very, very terrible, and I fall somewhere in the middle. I see both sides and I hear both sides exponentially. And let's just go to the elephant in the room, being that Hugh Jackman's coming back as Logan, as the Wolverine, which comes with its own problems in this movie. Yes, he is one of the best of all time to do this character, one of the best castings of all time. So him coming back in this movie, one of the best duos in cinematic history so far. Yes, it's incredible. Yes, it's beautiful. But the way they ended that character in Logan, well, look, you can't just bring this character back. I mean, it's not that simple. Yet, now it is with the multiverse. So they can pull in any Logan that they want to from any point in the multiverse and not have any of the side effects, which is very, very cool and very, very forgiving. So Logan is referenced in this movie very, very heavily, yet they don't really touch it at all, which is very good. I mean, thematically, the film is still the same. Logan is still its own movie in its own corner, and it's not really affected that much by this movie. Once again, depending on who you ask, because they do something that's very, very risky and a very bold thing to do right at the start of the movie, but I won't say what it is. It's a lot of fun for some people, and for other people, it's very, very disgraceful to Logan, but I personally think it's fun. I mean, it's Logan, it's Deadpool, it's the multiverse, so I really enjoyed it, but depending on who you ask, it's terrible. And just speaking on our main two leading men for this movie, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, they came back for this role, the real iconic team up that we've all been waiting for. It's great. I mean, there's no denying it. It's really incredible. The chemistry between these two actors are really, really good. And then the characters of Deadpool and Wolverine, they fit them just so perfectly. I mean, both these actors in this role are just absolutely incredible. It's just nonstop fun, incredible comedy from start to finish, a lot of great action, and a lot of good banter from both these guys, which is all I could really ask for from this movie. And it's a very fun buddy cop movie like Rush Hour, and also all the same comedy and gore like Deadpool. What's not there to love, and what could really be good in this movie? Well, this movie could have benefited from, and something that I thought it wouldn't really do, is having good themes, having good characters, having a great story first, and then building off of that with great cameos and a great, cool, fun comedy adventure. Well, that movie does that here very well, and I'm very, very shocked about it as well, too. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine both are just so thematically rich. It's a love letter to really everything that Fox has done, but more importantly, a love letter to not only the actors, but also the characters that they're playing so very, very well. We've already seen Logan in his own movie have a great story, and I thought that will be really all we see from the Wolverine moving forward. But in this film, they do something so beautiful with the Wolverine, just a true love letter to the character. This isn't the same Wolverine from the past X-Men films. It's a new one. It's a very different one, different story, but it's still the same character that has a lot of great moments. What I love about the character is really in this movie so much. And also for Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, that character also has a very beautiful story in this movie that works really, really well and is a thing that really is probably the best part of the film outside of all of the incredible cameos and the incredible jokes and action sequences. I mean, this movie has all of the thematic and heartbreak that Logan has, all of the fun comedy of Deadpool and gore, and also all of the fun buddy cop stuff of Rush Hour. It's a beautiful equation of those three films just meshed together in this absolutely fun adventure. And also the directing from Sean Levy just beautifully weaves this entire story together, and is one that I definitely have a lot of respect for, and respect that I give to him wholeheartedly. And also, never decided to mention it, but Sean Levy also directed Real Steel and also Night at the Museum. Two films that I absolutely love. I would give my life to Sean Levy because those two movies, Real Steel, really the entire Night at the Museum franchise, are both just absolutely incredible, just shaped my entire childhood, and I love him for that. If he told me, Logan, I need you to die for me, I would say, Sean Levy, absolutely no problem, I'll die right now. Because I really just owe that man my life for those two films, and this one as well is done really well from him. He really is somewhat of a veteran in this field, he really knows what he's doing, and really with this story for how big it is, for how big the movie is and all of its characters, it is really a true testament that he is able to do this one this well. Now, is he Denis Villeneuve? Is he Christopher Nolan? Will he get an Oscar nomination? All those questions, no, definitely not. But he still does a really good job, and he deserves a little bit more respect. And also for one of the biggest things in this movie, really bigger than the entire film, is the cameos. And yes, there are cameos. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of really, really good ones that I just never even thought was coming. I was asking myself, what the heck is going on? Just because there's some cameos that I knew were coming, some that was in the trailers, which I'm not always too surprised by, and others that are just somehow in here that I never even knew about. There was no leaks, no spoilers, no kind of rumors going on about these kind of cameos in the movie. Some of these are just genuine surprises for the entire audience, and I really do appreciate that. And the last time we had a very big cameo-heavy film like this was that of Spider-Man No Way Home, a film that I compare this one to a lot here. And with Spider-Man No Way Home, yes, there were cameos, like with, Doc Ock and all those Spider-Man guys. That was all, one, in the trailers, and two, kind of leaked months before. I mean, we knew the Spider-Man were in them. There was a massive leak about that kind of months before that. In this movie, no leaks, no rumors, just cameos that I never knew were happening, very held under wraps very heavily, and that's really just absolutely surprising. So yes, there's cameos. Yes, this film does have expectations, and it does deliver on them just so beautifully. Everything you think you could have wanted is in this movie. Well, maybe not everything. I'm just going to say a minor, teeny tiny spoiler here. Skip like 2 minutes if you want to. But there's like no X-Men in this movie, which is really understandable because, Kevin Feige, all those big Marvel guys, they got to save their big guns for Secret Wars and all of that other cool stuff in there. I mean, you can't just give away us a new Professor X, new Cyclops, a whole new set of X-Men team within this movie. It doesn't really feel right. They got to do it at Comic-Con and Hall H, have the internet absolutely melt their brains by a massive announcement like, hey, guess who's going to be the new Professor X? Jonah Hill, yes, and also the new Cyclops, Mark Wahlberg, and guess who's going to be Beast? You guessed it, Timothée Chalamet. I mean, look at that. That's a beautiful, perfect casting. I can't wait for it. It's absolutely perfection. But, all jokes aside, there's no X-Men in this movie. Really sad a little bit, but, hey, it's understandable. Keep it under wraps right now, and then, later on, start working on a movie, start working on directors, writers, then start the casting, announce the cast at Comic-Con. That makes a little bit more sense than doing it right here. That's just a little bit of like a wish list for me, like really at the top. I want to see who's the new Cyclops, but it's understandable. I need to be patient a little bit longer, and we'll get it soon enough. Okay, but that's all of my pros for the film. Overall, a very good movie, very fun. I don't have that high of expectations. What I wanted happens in the movie. It's what I want for a fun Deadpool and Wolverine fun team-up movie. That's all it has been. It's all it needs to be, and I'm not that mad about it. Now, there are some cons for the movie, some cons that are very, very big, and some that just are really, really upsetting, because this movie is doing a lot right and yet also a lot wrong, which is what makes it kind of a interesting movie, not exactly a yes or no good movie. Okay, so I have just a few critiques, but all few of them are very, very big, and they are very, very important for the movie, not really working that well for me. Just starting off here with the villain in this movie, I guess the villains, there's like 3 in this movie, kind of. The villains don't work. Marvel still has a villain problem this many years later, which is very sad. I'm not sure how they keep doing it. We've seen that villains can be in these movies. Villains can be just a kind of a one-off thing, but still be very good. I mean, look at Killmonger, look at Hela. Loki doesn't count, Thanos doesn't really count, but still, we still have Killmonger, we still have Hela. Those 2 villains worked really, really well. Even Namor, I haven't seen Black Panther in a while, but even that one was nothing crazy, but still one that I really, really liked. This movie, the villain just isn't that good, which makes me very sad, because the actress, Emma Corrin, is beautiful, and also she's very, very good in the role as the villain, gave a really good performance. She really deserves this film to be really good. This movie should have a great villain that has a really good part in the script. But what I said before, and I knew this was happening, you can listen back to one of the previous episodes before, I said the villain wouldn't work in this movie. The villain will not be good because the concept of this movie is just way too big. There's no way this villain has any time to shine, which isn't the villain's fault, isn't the actor's fault, isn't the writer's fault either, to an extent. It's just the fact that a Deadpool and Wolverine film that people have been waiting for over 10 years now, there's no way that this villain can be good or have any time to shine at all. And you know, just like with the Marvels last year, I don't even know her name in this movie. Who's the villain's name? I don't know. I didn't even remember, like, every time they said it, I have no idea what the villain's name is. That's not her fault. That's not the writer's fault exactly. It's just that Deadpool and Wolverine is so big, it has no time for a villain in this movie. And this villain is played by an actress who's very, very good. She has very cool powers, but she's only just really a plot device for a protagonist to get through, which shouldn't be the reality. A villain can be a really good character altogether. Instead, they do it a little bit differently here, where they instead use the villain to really elevate the story and elevate the characters to really complete their arc. More of a plot device instead of an actual character, instead of an actual person, which shouldn't really be the reality, yet it is in this movie. And also the second thing is the No Way Home thing in this movie. And the No Way Home thing, I talked about it in my little short TikTok reel that I had put out here on Friday night or like Saturday morning, like 2 in the morning. But in that little video, I said that in No Way Home, that movie's really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave that film a 9 out of 10 when I first saw it. Right now, maybe like an 8 out of 10. And that movie does a lot really good in terms of getting all the Spider-Man characters together, getting them all in one room. Something that I never thought would happen, yet it did. And it happened very, very well. I'm very, very satisfied by that movie. Yet, to get to that point in the film, the movie is really good. A lot of fun stuff going on. Yet the writing's really bad. A lot of plot holes. A very overall messy movie. Just to get these things to happen, you need to sacrifice having a good film, which shouldn't really need to happen all the time. Yet for Marvel, for some reason, them putting Deadpool and Wolverine in their own movie together has a lot of plot holes. It's a lot of really messy script and a messy screenplay. For what reason, I'm not sure why. It doesn't really need to be a big multiverse story, multiverse movie, and also at the same time be a very messy and plot hole driven movie. That doesn't always need to happen. Why, you may ask, is because of Everything Everywhere All at Once. A movie that didn't have any previous big franchise, yet is a better multiverse story. The best one we've seen so far, and it does it all very beautifully. So just like Spider-Man No Way Home, I'll admit all the cheering in the theaters, me bawling my eyes out to seeing Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man, all of that is beautiful, yet at the same time, to get to that point, the movie is very weird, it's very awkward. Whenever a big cameo happens in the movie, there's a weird silence in the film because they know that in the theater, when they see Andrew Garfield come out of the portal, you can't hear anything for the next like 10 minutes. And that's very understandable. In this movie, no different. I'll admit, I was cheering. I was absolutely just rejoicing in the theater to all the cameos. Yet, when I watch this movie at home, it won't be that good. I'll see all of the flaws. And that's just not really everything in the movie. That shouldn't really be the reality. This movie shouldn't have to be messy for it to be good. Yet, for Marvel, for some reason, that's how they've always been doing it. And I'm not really a fan of it. And I guess the third thing here is the multiverse is really killing storytelling. The multiverse in this movie is here. I mean, obviously, with this movie, we have the TVA, also Deadpool really messing up with timeline stuff. It's all just one big mess. And the multiverse is really just killing storytelling at this point. And it's really, really frustrating. I think the film also just gets to a point where it even understands that this whole multiverse thing is all just way too much. The multiverse is just becoming one big backdrop of a bunch of Easter eggs and cameos and fun little cool references instead of actually elevating the movie to be one glorious film. And yes, we do see that there is a lot of cool stuff they did here with Deadpool going to meet a new Wolverine, having Wolverine be in the movie in general, wouldn't happen without the multiverse. Yet the multiverse is really just dumbing things down a bit. It's really just watering everything down, and it's killing the way we see stories. It's killing the way we see movie telling, and that's not really a good thing at all. I know I shouldn't be the no fun police, yet in this movie, and also just throughout the entire MCU now, there's not really a lot of stakes that I feel anymore because it's just one big multiversal movie, and that's not really a whole lot of fun. Which also just kind of brings me into the fourth thing I have to say about the bad stuff with this movie is the cameos, Easter eggs, and inside jokes with this whole franchise thing really just killing cinema. The cinema is being sucked dry by all this kind of movies coming out now. I hate to sound like a Scorsese fanboy, but all these kind of comic book films aren't really what movies should be at its core. I shouldn't need to really just point at the screen and yell, "Oh my gosh, look, it's X-23 from Logan," and that immediately makes the film good. No, it shouldn't be. I shouldn't just yell, "Oh my gosh, look, it's the Secret Wars comic book from the comics." That shouldn't make the film that great. And all these inside jokes of what once happened or what should have happened in previous X-Men movies coming into this film, that shouldn't make a movie great. And I'll kind of just explain it like with last year, The Flash. In The Flash, they had a version of Superman that was Nicolas Cage. If you don't know what that is, you don't get that reference unless you're a nerd like me who has no life. And what that reference means in The Flash with the Nicolas Cage version of Superman is that Nicolas Cage at one point was supposed to play Superman, yet he didn't. But still, in that movie, they threw him in there for a fun little Easter egg thing for the fans, a fun little inside joke. Yet, the inside joke to me, I get, and it is really not that good actually, but also to someone who does know the inside joke, you're going to be thinking to yourself, why the heck is the guy from National Treasure playing Superman? That doesn't make any sense. Or why is Ghost Rider playing Superman? No one knows. It's all dumb, but the inside jokes are really killing everything within the MCU now, to the point where if you don't know the films or you don't really care about them, if you come to the movie, it's kind of like one big pile of FOMO, one big pile of, I didn't see that. What does that even mean? And that's not really good for anyone. And also, as for the cameos and all the Easter eggs in the movie, if you don't really care about the previous Spider-Man films, then you're not really going to have fun with Spider-Man No Way Home, just because that movie really does dive heavy into it being a very heavy fan service film. Once again, Deadpool and Wolverine really does no different. A lot of cool little cameos that some of them I don't even really care about that much because that's not really my childhood, really. I've been very vocal about me not really loving that previous Fox X-Men stuff in that previous era because that's not really my childhood. My childhood was The Amazing Spider-Man, all the MCU stuff. Not even Star Wars is really my childhood stuff. So I don't really have a deep emotional connection with those characters and with those movies. But someone who does immediately will think that this movie is just absolutely incredible because they bring back so-and-so and have him be on screen for like 10-15 minutes. I remember I was talking to one of my friends at work and they said that Spider-Man No Way Home was just one big circle jerk contest with all the previous Spider-Man franchises and Sony and Marvel, just really flexing all their money and all their actors. And yeah, that's what this film is too a little bit, because it's kind of just like really pandering to one part of your audience and the other part of your audience doesn't know what the fuck is going on or doesn't really give a fuck about the movie whatsoever. So yes, the movie is good. It is what I wanted. I did ask for something and it was delivered in this movie. I did ask for one crazy Deadpool and Wolverine multiverse adventure, yet at the cost of my friend after the movie telling me all of this big multiverse stuff is starting to get annoying to him, and I can't really blame him. I'm not gonna lie, all this multiverse stuff is starting to really become obnoxious. They definitely understand it, they definitely agree with us now, to where the multiverse had its fun, it had its day. We've had a lot of good and also a lot of bad. It's been actually mostly bad with the MCU, and mainly just the multiverse as a whole. Pandering stuff has not been it so far. Yes, it's the comic. Yes, the comics do really well, but that shouldn't always be translated to a film. Also, yeah, once again, we had fun. We had a very great time, but yet again, at the cost of us having an incredible actress be done pretty dirty by her villain not really having a chance to be the movie or be in the movie really that much at all. Or yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe it was worth it to you, but what about that one random couple in the back of the movie theater who doesn't really know all these cameos or all these Easter eggs or all these inside jokes that me, someone who has no life and no fun whatsoever, does know all these Easter eggs and all these jokes and all these inside jokes? Yeah, that's not really fun for everyone. It's not really that fun for everyone. Just because it's fun for you doesn't mean it'll be fun to the person who doesn't know what the fuck is even going on in the movie. So the question doesn't become, is the film really delivering what they promised? The film does deliver, but at what cost? And was the cost worth the sacrifice? I'll let you decide for yourself. My final score for the film is a C+, a very modest and very respectable C+, and one that is very deserving for the movie. Look, it's not like I'm going to be going to this film thinking it's going to be a 5 out of 5. I understand it's a fun buddy cop movie with Deadpool and Wolverine that has a fun little penis jokes in there and a bunch of gore and nudity. What more can I ask for? The film is everything that it's supposed to be, and it does that as good as it can. Also, if you love this movie, hey, don't be that offended that I kind of trashed on it a little bit. Look, let me just explain like this. Martin Scorsese, he said that all this cool MCU superhero stuff is not cinema. He said that it's not exactly bad, it's just more of like theme park films. And no one said that theme park films are bad either. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna watch Deadpool and Wolverine and think to myself, this movie will be exactly like the French New Wave's Jules and Jim. And there's no way that this movie is gonna be like Jules and Jim from the French New Wave, or even like the Umbrellas of Cherbourg from the French New Wave. Look, it's not like I'm looking into this movie, or any movie for that matter, and thinking that every movie in the world is supposed to be like the 400 Blows from France. No. And if you look into Deadpool and Wolverine, or really any movie that you watch and think to yourself, it needs to be like Raging Bull from Martin Scorsese. Yes, that is cinema. If Deadpool and Wolverine isn't Raging Bull from Martin Scorsese, then this movie is not good. No, I don't think anyone's exactly saying that. Look, Marvel is its different own kind of cinema. It's proven to be that. It's proven to be good at times and also very, very underwhelming. Like we have here, while being a fun movie, kind of struggles to be a really good movie. Film is art and art is subjective, so watch whatever you want to watch, like what you like, and don't let anyone really tell you any different. And also, don't just watch movies like Deadpool and Wolverine and also She-Hulk on Disney+. Go out there and watch a little bit of Raging Bull. And also, don't just watch Raging Bull, go in there and watch something like Unbreakable from M. Night Shyamalan, or even Iron Man 1 from Jon Favreau. Both those movies, superhero films that are also really, really good. The point is, watch what you want to watch, like what you like, but also don't be afraid to branch out and build your film palette a little bit. Have a little bit of fun and go watch new stuff and experience new film from different parts of the world. But until the next time I talk to you, we're going to be going into a full X-Men ranking. All 14 X-Men films gives this Fox universe its fair farewell with love and joy. And until the next time I talk to you, it may be about RDJ as Doctor Doom, which is very just its own thing I have to talk about. But until then, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more movies, and I'll see you boys in the movies.